Hey guys, thank you so much for hopping on this YouTube live with me. I really appreciate it. Today's topic that I want to talk about is trauma, right? This is going to be a really touchy subject, you guys. I am going to be making 3 parts of this video. This is not just going to be just one video. It's going to be 3 parts just because I'm going to be going and diving in and really dabbling in on some personal things. I'm going to just talk about, different types of traumas. I'm going to talk about how to cope with trauma. With different types of traumas. And give you guys some good tips and tools that's been helping me through my life on how I've been coping with trauma and dealing with it. And then also I'm going to bring on a guest tomorrow to talk about her traumas and how she's coping with it and how it's affected her in so many different ways. So let's get started. So the first talk that I want to dabble in and I want to talk about, when it comes to trauma is childhood trauma, right? I think that a lot of people, they have their own experiences that they go through in childhood trauma, right? Whether they've seen their parents fighting a lot and, one parent was super abusive to the other parent and you grew up around, mental and physical abuse. And then there's traumas of sexual abuse. Then there's traumas of, bullying. There's so many just different types of traumas out there that people deal with on a regular basis from childhood. And then now it compounds and affects them as adults. And they're going through these traumas in our adult bodies, and we're not really understanding to dig deep and understand that, hey, this trauma that you're dealing with mentally and emotionally, or even physical trauma that you're dealing with now as an adult has to do with a lot of the trauma and the shit that you went through when you were younger, right? And I am a living and walking being of that, right? I'm going to keep it real and honest with you guys. I've been through a lot of trauma when I was younger. My mom and my dad used to, fight all the time. My dad beat my mom so abruptly and badly where my mom was in a mental hospital. I didn't even, my mom didn't even realize who her kids were. It was just so sad, when she finally got back to her state of mind, got back home, the abuse still went on. And it's just crazy. That was normal to me. That was normal to me. Seeing my mom and my dad fight was normal. And I believe that there's so much traumas that's happened to me that when I was younger, that it's crazy. There's so many moments that I don't even remember. I don't know if there's anybody out there that can relate to what I'm saying, that you had so much childhood traumas that you can't even remember. You can't even remember certain periods of your child life because of the fact of the trauma. And I don't even know if there's any other traumas, because I think that there's something that you can do with your brain where you can block out certain moments or times inside of your life because they were so traumatizing. And I think there's a lot of people out there that can agree that they had some time inside of their life where they can't even remember a certain period inside of their life because of so much trauma that they've been through, or there was a traumatizing incident that they don't even recall or remember. And that was one of my childhood traumas. And my mom moved out finally and left my dad, and then we were in a shelter. So I was living in a shelter, just not knowing, what the heck, what is this? And my mom finally got her own place. I lived in the worst neighborhood ever. And then from there, all my mom did was kind of party, drink, and, had different people over the house. As my brother got older, he had different people over the house. And I had constantly, guys trying to touch me, trying to, sexually abuse me all the time, when your house is supposed to feel like the safe place. And it's not, and you just want to run away, but you can't. And it's just I've seen, my mom's boyfriends try to touch tried to touch my sister, tried to touch me. And it's just crazy. You talk to your parents and they just don't, they either don't do nothing about it, they don't believe you. I tried, running away. And then you come back because you're just like, where are you going? Right. And then it's just like, it compounds into like, now you want that love, you want that affection, you want that attention so badly that you end up finding a guy who you think is going to give you that attention and give you that love, and then ends up taking advantage of you because we're so broken and we're so, you know traumatized of not knowing what real love is, not knowing. And this is for women, this is for like men out there, this is like all of us. That's, if you ever are listening to, this video, that's been through a traumatizing experience in your life when you were younger, it does affect you as you get older. You can sit there and you can say to yourself that, yeah, no, that happened, I'm strong, I'm okay. You No, as you get older, you have anger issues, you lash out easily, you get frustrated easily, or you get yourself into a toxic relationship where that person is treating you just as bad of how you were getting treated when you were a child, right? You rely on drugs, you rely on alcohol to make you feel better. You can never be alone. You have abandonment issues. There's so many issues that we grow with as an adult that we don't realize that we have, right? That had to really do a lot to do with our childhood, right? And I am one of them. Like, as soon as I got the first chance to get out of my house, I got out of my house. 17, I went to go live in a shelter. I lived in a shelter, and it was just like, I'm seeing, drug addicts. I'm seeing, just people that are not right in their head. And then I went back home, and the same shit happened. It's just, it's crazy. Like, you just, you run around looking for that love from other people. And I always knew that, like, well, I always felt that like my looks and my body was the answer to everything, to fix everything. So I grew into this mentality that, my looks is going to get me out of situations, right? And little behold, 17, like, found a boyfriend, but that same boyfriend that I found took my virginity, cheated on me, didn't even know that he had a girlfriend. And boom, later on, got pregnant. And then what am I doing? And it's so crazy. A lot of times that I find, like, if you're going through trauma as a child, it's so amazing that God will send you that one person. And for me, my one person was my high school teacher. And my high school teacher cared about me so much. She's the one that found me a shelter. She's the one that told me to keep my daughter. And it's just like so crazy that it's like that one person. God will send you that one person to be like, stay strong, right? And it's so crazy how sometimes, blood is not thicker than water. And it's just like, you'll have that person that's not even your family member that you would trust to go talk to go tell them about like what you're going through, and them want to try to help you in some sort of way. And I know I've been hearing some stories, with other people, and they had that significant other. They had somebody out there that wasn't their family members. And thank God for teachers. There are some good teachers out there that really care about our kids. That's why you got to appreciate teachers so much, because they go above and beyond to really help our kids when they need it the most. There's so many stories you'll hear with kids getting sexually abused, and the teachers really care. They call children's services, or they try to ask the child, are you okay? Is something wrong? So, like, thank God for teachers. And I thank God for my teacher that I had when I was in high school, because if I didn't have her, I didn't know where I would be. Like, she was like my second mom, right? I could trust her. I could talk to her about everything. I was just so close with her. She got me through high school. I even had learning disabilities inside of high school too. I couldn't remember anything because of the fact that I was so used to blocking things out. I had trouble remembering my schoolwork. I had trouble memorizing things because I was so used to just blocking things out. Like, I could not remember things. And it's so, and again, I never, looking back at it, I always used to think I'm stupid, something's wrong with me, I can't remember things, like why can't I contain this information and all that. And now when I look back, it's just because I had so much shit mentally and emotionally going on at the same time that like I couldn't function to think straight, to think properly. I always kept thinking about the worst going on inside of my head and replaying messed up situations over and over and over and over again in my head, thinking that nobody loves me, like I'm never gonna find somebody that's gonna appreciate me, and just constantly just searching for love. Till like, at one point in time, it's just like sex kind of became like my comforting thing. So it's just like I would utilize my body, again, my body and my looks, to comfort me, right? And again, that's people find different coping mechanisms to cope with all their traumas of past childhood experiences, right? And it's just like we don't want to admit it, that we utilize certain things to comfort us and make us feel good, when realistically we are utilizing those, smoking weed, drinking, or saying, oh, we're addicted to sex, we want sex. But when majority of times we'll have sex and then we'll just not feel whole, we'll feel satisfied for a little bit, and then we're back to square one, feeling that emptiness, feeling like we need that fiend again, we need something else to like comfort us, right? And again, that's another coping mechanisms that we don't want to realize that they really are coping mechanisms that we put in place to make ourselves feel whole, to make ourselves feel good. But then you take that coping mechanism away and you're back to square one, feeling like shit, feeling sad, feeling anxiety, feeling angry, feeling frustration. Because why? You're not really facing your past life and what happened to you when you were a childhood, the experiences, the traumas that you've been through. And I honestly truly feel like I'm sitting here telling you that I'm facing it now, and it's just like it's hard and it's challenging to really look back and forgive your past, forgive your parents, forgive your exes, that treated you bad, forgive all those people that, let's say, try to abuse you mentally, physically. And it's just like going back to say, at the end of the day, like, you don't know what they went through in their past childhoods and why they're doing it to you, right? So at the end of the day, I turned around and said, you know what? I give them to God, and I forgive every person that really traumatized me or hurt me in some sort of way while I was a child, right? I forgive my parents for just not knowing me better. Because when I really hear the stories of, my dad's life and how his dad treated him, it's like any kid would become messed up. Like, it's just, you hear if you really take in and listen to your parents' stories, hey, I'm not justifying what they did to you when you were a child is right, but I'm just saying, like, it's like a compounding effect, it's just like their parents treated them that way, and then they went around, like a lot of old school people, they're just stuck in their old ways, and they don't see today's era and how things are wrong, right? And you just hear so many stories, right, with a lot of people dealing with past childhood traumas, and then they say, oh, it is what it is, it doesn't affect me. But then you see them have anger issues, you see them have abandonment issues, you see them lash out easily, you see them very emotional, you see them always needing to smoke weed, you see them always needing to do coke or do drugs, or they always need to drink. They just find some sort of coping mechanisms because they don't want to confront the past and what happened to them and heal from it. So they just find other coping mechanisms to make them feel like everything's okay, when realistically it's not freaking okay. And I can sit here and talk to you guys about that from, going through those situations of, even when I was younger, I believe I was 8 years old, I was walking to school and I almost got kidnapped. And I had to run from this car and hide under a house. It's just like so many traumatizing experiences when it came to men happened to me. When I found my now ex that I was with for 15 years, all I wanted to do was make it work. All I wanted to do was for him to love me. all I wanted to do is create a family that I didn't have. All I wanted to do was, show him how much I love him and for him to love me the same way. And it's just so crazy. We're wanting another person. Now that I look at it, I can sit here today and talk about it. It's not right to want somebody else to fix you, right? And that's kind of like what I wanted. I wanted him to be that, fix that hole within inside me of my trauma, right? Of my pain, of my hurt, right? And because of all that trauma, I did not know how to love myself. I did not know how to love myself. I put myself in situations in life of not loving myself, with treating myself second best, with not seeing how much my worth is, with not respecting my body, with not respecting myself, with not like caring for myself. Just there's so many things that I let go when I met that person, and I allowed another person that I thought loved me bring me down so low, abuse me physically, abused me verbally, where I felt like I was nothing. Like I was nothing. Like I didn't know who I was. And if I tried to be who I wanted to be, I'm acting stupid. You're acting this. Like, and then as I'm sitting here, I'm talking to you now, I understand that that was narcissistic abuse, right? And that when somebody else, and it stems from, when I know about that person's childhood, they went through a lot of traumatizing situations too. And they do a lot of coping mechanisms that they don't have to deal or talk about or really heal from those past experiences. They kind of like put it under the rug, right? And I think a lot of us do that. We put our past childhood experiences under the rug and say, yeah, that does not affect me, when later on we see that it really does in different ways. I know for a fact at one point for me, when I was in that narcissistic relationship, I would always want materialistic things to make me feel better. Like that person can say sorry to me 25 billion times and I'll be like, okay, great, just buy me this or buy me this or buy me that. And I would use materialistic things to fill that hole because that person couldn't physically love me. Like, and it's just like it started to become the norm, right? Again, we find coping mechanisms to become the norm when it's not normal, right? A lot of the coping mechanisms that we're using on a daily basis is not normal. Us feeling like we have to drink or we have to smoke or we have to always be outside of our house when we're alone, that's not normal. That's just us finding coping mechanisms because we don't want to heal, because we don't want to confront, past traumas that we've been through. And hey, maybe you haven't been through any traumas when you were younger, but you experienced trauma when you were a teenager, or you experienced trauma when, you're in your 20s, or something drastic happened to you where you felt like, again, abandoned, abused mentally, emotionally, right? And you just didn't know how to handle it. And then you found coping mechanisms to make it normal. I know when I was getting abuse from my narcissist, like I always made it seem like it was normal. Oh, that's just how he is. Like he's going to lash out. He's going to leave me for a couple of days and he's going to come back and everything will be okay. As long as he buys me something, I'm okay. Like, as long as he says sorry, I'm okay. Right. And it's just, again, like we because I didn't want to be alone, because I didn't want to lose that person, I kept thinking things is okay. Even up to the day where he finally walked away, I knew he was talking to somebody else. Like I kept thinking like, no, I've been with him for 10 years. If he's going to be with somebody else, he would tell me. I trust him. No, and he's not sleeping with nobody else. I'm the only person he's sleeping with. I fed my head with so many lies. And then boom, he ended up walking away when I least expected it. Right. And it's just, again, it's like, so, and then it's like, I found myself, being toxic to a person and I didn't want to. I'm a happy-go-lucky person. Like, and then we find ourselves changing into a person that we really are not because we're so used to somebody treating you a certain way, so you're feeling that you have to react a different way when that's not really who you are. If you're like a loving and cuddling and caring person, you find yourself changing into an aggressive person, into like a verbally abusive person, and then you're just like, what? Like, this is not who I am. I love to laugh. I like to be nice to people. I like to cuddle. I like to be emotional with people. And then you feel yourself blocking yourself off, and then it's so crazy now when you don't get that abuse anymore. It's not normal to you. You feel like it was like a drug because you're so used to that abuse and getting abused. It's like when you are detached from that abuse or from that person, you start to feel like something wrong with me? Like, why am I like this? And you start putting yourself down 10 times more because you're so used to being abused. You're so used to being put down. You're so used to being like in drama or bullshit. And then now when all the drama's gone and all the abuse is gone, it's just like you're there feeling like alone and scared and worried, when actually it's the universe and God doing you a favor, taking you out of that abusive situation, right? And again, it's just we don't realize a lot of the experiences that we're experiencing as we're an adult has to do with our childhood, right? And when I really started to try to self-heal and start to really dabble in and work on myself mentally and emotionally, and that's only been recent, you guys, it's when I started to realize a lot of it has to do with my past life, right? My past childhood, like my past life experience as a child, right? And in physically seeing exactly what my mom went into, I ended up finding a relationship with a man who treated me exactly how my dad used to treat my mom. And then I'm just like, whoa, it's crazy. We sometimes find ourselves, especially if you witnessed abuse when you were younger, you find yourself saying, I'll never be like my parents, or I'm never going to be that way. And then you end up turning out to be that way. But the biggest thing that I learned, you guys, if you're out there and you're going through, mental abuse right now, or physical abuse in just different scenarios, or you're thinking about committing suicide, or you're hurting right now from a breakup, or you're hurting right now, just mental stress and, anxiety and just fear, whatever it is that you're going through, know that at the end of the day, you can heal from it. You can heal from it by acknowledging what happened to you wasn't right. Yes, it was not right. And it's not okay for a child or for you to go through any type of abuse, whether it be you were abused when you're a child, or you're abused when you're a teenager, you were abused. And again, it does not have to mean sexual abuse. It could be mental abuse. A lot of people deal with mental abuse in their households as they were growing up, right? Whether it be a bully, right? A bully at school was bullying them, right? Or your own brothers and sisters bullied you or something like that, right? Everybody has their own trauma that they went through, like that you can say that it's made you stronger, right? And if not, and you're listening to this and you have, a lot of healing to do, like you're relying on, friends to fill that void, to always being around people, to utilizing weed or drugs or drinking alcohol and all those things to fill that void to make you feel better. At the end of the day, you're going to wake up every day with the same body, with the same mindset, and with the same heart. You're going to always feel those emotions, no matter how much you try to drink away from it or run away from it with friends, being around people, not being okay to be alone. And I think that's the biggest thing for a lot of people that's been through trauma, either in a childhood life or when, your adult life, or it's just like feeling the fear of being alone. There's a lot of people out there, I think more than ever with this pandemic, they're at home and they're fearful of being alone. They hate being by themselves. Like they're so used to, especially if you're dealing with a breakup, it's just like, or a divorce, the fear of being alone. A lot of people are just scared to be alone because they're so used to that abuse. They're so used to being with somebody there, right? And a lot of times, like, if you're breaking up or something happened, it's just because at the end of the day, that, majority of the times that person didn't treat you good, or that person cheated on you, or you guys are always fighting, or that person's disrespectful to you. This could be a man, this could be a woman, whatever your situation is. But again, it's just like, when you think about it, it comes back right back down to a lot of the times your childhood life and what you went through, right? And hey, there's the odd times that you had a really good childhood life and everything was good through your childhood life, but then at the end of the day, you still feel lack. You still feel not whole with yourself, right? And you got to understand, why is it? Well, why is that, right? Is there something that happened inside of your school, right? Or, like, a lot of times people have, especially in high schools now, people get bullied, right? People get bullied. Sometimes they don't find the right crowd to hang out with. They don't feel like they don't have friends. They feel like the nerd, or whatever the case may be. Just because, like, it doesn't have to necessarily mean that, okay, great, you have great home life, but then outside of the home, you're dealing with traumas at school, right? There's people like that, right? So this is just for all different types. This conversation is for all different areas. It doesn't have to specifically talk to one area, but I just wanted to be open and honest with you guys with my traumas and what I've been through, because at the end of the day, you look at motivational speakers, you look at, some certain people that are out there and so outgoing and talking. Majority of the times, honestly, those people that are so open to talk and motivate and help and encourage and inspire other people, they've been through so much fucked up shit inside of their life that's what has them so strong to get up and just want to make a difference, to talk to people out there, to want to inspire, to want to help other people out there that's been through different abuse or different types of situations in their either childhood, their adult life, whatever it is that you're going through right now. If you're watching this video and you've been through abuse when you were younger and you're still battling with it mentally to cope with getting over it, or you're dealing with abuse right now, whether it be in a relationship or you're battling from leaving an abusive relationship, it's just like, the biggest thing I can tell you is just really trying to forgive. That was the biggest thing for me, was forgiving my mom, forgiving my dad, and just really forgiving my ex who abused me mentally and emotionally. Everybody that caused really harsh trauma inside of my life, I forgave them. And I said, you know what? I love them. I still love them to this day, no matter what. My mom's always going to be my mom. My dad's always going to be my dad. But again, it's just learning. My ex is always going to be my ex, but it's learning to set that healthy boundaries with those people, right? I think that's the biggest thing. It's just like, you can forgive and you can let go, because in order for you to move forward in life, I strongly believe you have to forgive. And that's the biggest coping mechanism that I took to move forward. I think we have coping mechanisms that move us backward and keep us stagnant. And then there's coping mechanisms that you can use to move forward, right? With. And one of my coping mechanisms to move forward was forgiveness, right? Forgiving myself, first of all, because I think a lot of the times when we go through traumas, we beat ourselves up. We say, oh, like, are you dumb? Like, why are you staying? Why are you doing this? Or why didn't you leave? Or why are you allowing him to do this? Or, you don't deserve this, but you're still staying. And you start beating yourself up. Or, like, if you've been abused sexually when you're younger, you beat yourself up and say, why didn't I say something? Why didn't I just run away? Why didn't I just get up and tell them to stop? Or, like, you beat yourself up. A lot of the times we beat ourselves up mentally because we think we did something wrong, right? When actually they're the ones that are doing something wrong to us, right? And we normalize it like it's normal, when it's really not normal. If you're going through any type of abuse right now, understand and hear from me, it's not normal. And there is a way out, right? I know for me, for the longest while, because I experienced abuse from when I was younger to all the way to an adult, I really just, I was like a drug. You're so used to getting that abuse that when you don't get that abuse, you don't know who you are anymore. You just feel lost. You just feel like you just don't know who you are. You don't know who's gonna love you. You don't know who's gonna like be real with you. You don't know who to trust. You just lose yourself for a little while. And that's where I was. I felt so lost. I just didn't know like what to do anymore when my ex left, and did whatever to me. I just didn't want to be here anymore. Like I had the thoughts of committing suicide. Like I don't know if there's anybody on here that it had so much abuse. They had that thought that crossed their mind. I had those thoughts too, right? But thankfully, in the grace of God, I never acted on it. There's some people that may watch this and they have, and they regret it. But at the end of the day, like I'm so in the grace of God, I never did. I always looked at my daughter and I always said, like, no, I have something to live for. I want to cut these karmic ties that keep like this pattern, because it went from my mom, then it went from her mom, then it went from me. And I seen other family members go through different situations that I'm talking about today. And I said, no, I'm going to be that one to stand up and make a difference and cut those patterns, that my daughter never has to go through any of those experiences, because I'm the one that's going to make a change. I'm the one that's going to cut those ties. And it's up to me to stand tall and make a difference in my life. So then that now is going to like propel over into her life, that now she's not going to have to go through all the experiences that I went through as a child. Because at the end of the day, I decided to get up and make a difference. I decided to stand up and stand tall and say, no, I'm not going to put myself in that same cycle that my mom went through. Enough is enough. And thank God, when it came to my ex, I had so many signs to walk away, and I did walk away. But I kept holding on, hoping, little by little, that person will change, that person will change, that person will change. And thank God, in the grace of God, sometimes God will make abruptly something happen to you for you to walk away, or for you to have no other choice and walk away. In my essence, God put his foot down and he made it that, my ex found somebody else that he's happy with, and I'm happy for him. But, at first when I found out, that was really, really heart-wrenching. It was hard. Like it broke me down. It got me down to rock bottom. But at the end of the day, I came up with this saying, that I heard before, and it says, life is not happening to you, life is happening for you. So sometimes, you guys, we're stubborn and we continue with the abuse, and God will strike down something to happen and take that abuse away from you. And at that very moment, you're going to feel like your whole world is over, that like you lost that drug that you're so used to having, and you fiend for it and you want it, even though you know it's bad for you, you want it still. And God is going to take that away from you and allow you to self-heal and really work on yourself and understand who you are. Because until you get out of that abuse, you will never know who you really are. You will never, ever get to live the full version of your life. And eventually, you guys, no matter what, there will come a day where God will strike down and take that abuse away from you, whether you want it or not. That person may find somebody else. That person might, just walk out of your life and say, I don't want to do this anymore, right? So you're going to come a time where you're going to have to deal with detaching yourself someday down the line, just like how I did, right? But it's saying to yourself now, if you're watching this video and you're going through any type of abuse, or you're battling with overcoming, mental abuse, right, from your past, understand that it doesn't define you, right? It doesn't define you. At the end of the day, you you hold the pen to writing your chapter for your life. And if God woke you up today, he woke you up for a higher purpose. He woke you up for a reason. If you have a story that you can tell, you can go out there and make a difference, just like how I'm sitting in front of you right now, and make a difference and share that story with other people to help them, to inspire them, to uplift them, to let them know that it's okay and that you're not alone, right? You can really make a difference with with your story to other people. And I think that's exactly what I wanted to do, you guys. I always wanted to share my story, to inspire other people to know that, it's so crazy. Everybody, there's a lot of people that look up to me and think that I'm the most, happy go lucky, motivating person out there, but don't really know, what I've been through, right? The struggles I've been through on to get me here that I am today. And how I was maybe, let's say, 10 years ago, I was a shy, imagine me shy, big mouth Tracy shy. I was shy, I was timid, I was not myself. I didn't know who I was, right? I was always like scared to be myself because somebody was always telling me like I'm acting stupid, like calm yourself down, like just really putting me down, making me feel like I couldn't be myself. And it was only till I left that person that I felt free. I felt free, but I was lost at the same time because I was still trying to find who I was. And I think, and it took in between 5 years, I still didn't know who I was. I was still struggling back and forth. And the biggest thing about it is that I was actually doing what I know best. Like I got into like a vindictive mode where I just wanted to use people just like how they were using me. I was lost. I was utilizing sex as comforting. Like I would just say, yeah, sex makes me feel good. So, that, and then I would be happy go lucky. I would do it and then I would feel like shit after. I'd be like, whoa, like this sucked. Like that person used me. And then I would make it seem like, oh, well, I was using them and we're even. And then I would feel like shit. And a lot of times, again, that's like other people's coping mechanisms, or there's people, or I was using weed and drinking alcohol on the weekend times to make me feel better. It was like work, 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 work throughout the week. And then when weekend time came, I couldn't be alone. I couldn't stand to being alone. I would be drinking, I would be smoking, I would go into clubs, I would party, I would always be around friends. I just never could be alone because the fear of being alone would make me have to be with thinking those feelings and those thoughts that were actually there, that I was trying to cover up and hide with. And I think that's like a lot of people's fears is being alone and actually coping with what has actually happened to them or is happening to them. So there's a lot of people that are in abusive relationships that stay because they have that fear of being alone. They don't want to lose that person because they want that person to stick around to fill that void, right? And it's so crazy and it's sad because sometimes that void that they're filling is just being there, because there's a lot of times that you're in an abusive relationship and 99.9 of the times they're making you feel like shit, right? They're arguing with you. If they're in a bad mood, you're in a bad mood. If they don't like something you did, they're gonna make you feel like shit, that you're in the wrong, and then they're gonna call you crazy, right? I learned that a lot about in narcissistic abuse that I didn't know. Like that every time I wanted to speak up or I wanted to say something or I knew that person was doing something wrong, they would say, you're crazy, you're crazy, you're crazy. And then I would call that person crazy because they're calling me crazy. And it was a back and forth thing with us calling each other crazy, but we were still trying to make it work. We were still trying to be together, even though we were both calling each other crazy. And then it started to make me feel like, wow, am I really crazy? Is it really bad to ask for love and affection? But when you think about it, if you're in an abusive relationship, you guys, can a person really love you if they're abusing you? Like it makes you think, right? You need to sit there and you need to think. If you're getting abused right now, half of the time the person who's abusing you, it's like it's a sick love. It's a sick love. It's a sick love that they have, but can they really love you if they don't love themselves? That's the thing. If they can always be getting mad at you for no reason, getting agitated, lashing out on you, always having to, smoke weed or smoke cigarette or doing something to occupy their time because they don't want to face reality. Do they really love you? If they're going to call you, disrespectful names or put their hand on you, or like, is that really love? Right? I think that everybody, there's different types of love, right? I think somebody can be really truly infatuated with you and think that they love you, and they're just so comfortable with you that, it's normal to them. But then it's just like, if they can walk away in a blink of an eye and not even, try, it's just like, was that really love? Like, that person just doesn't want to change for you. That's like, that's not, to me, in my opinion, like, that's not love. And that's something that you need to walk away from, because if you keep trying, you're the one that's always putting all your eggs in the basket, trying. You don't want that day to come around that, that person walks out of your life, and then you're back to that same point where you were so scared of running away from, right? Because at the end of the day, if someone's abusing you over and over and over again, you're telling them that you're hurting me, and they're not wanting to change, they're not wanting to make an effort to change for you, then you need to come into realize again, like, wow, I'm normalizing this. I'm making it seem that it's normal when it's not. Abuse is not normal. Whether you are young, whether you are an adult, abuse is not normal. We tend to normalize this thing like it's normal. If someone's disrespecting you, that's not normal. If someone's calling you names, that's not normal. If someone's yelling at you and lashing out at you for no reason, that's not normal. You need to take a step back and really look inside of you. Man, what's going on? What's going on with me to allow this type of abuse to happen to me every freaking day? And especially if you guys out there and you're listening, if you have a kid, right? Now think about it. Use this analogy. If you seen your kid going through so much abuse, would you want your kid to go through that same abuse that you're going through? No, right? What advice would you give to your kid, or what advice did you give to your brother, your sister, your aunt, your uncle, your mom? If you see them physically getting abused and abused constantly, what advice would you give to them? There's a power that we have inside of us. If anybody has listened to this and you've been through abuse, whether it's not being right now, but you've been through sexual abuse or mental abuse when you were younger, you have a power within inside of you that you can get up and make a difference. You can make a difference with your life to break that freaking cycle inside of your family, to make sure that you're never, ever going to allow to show your kids, or to show if you don't have any kids, but you have a brother, you have a sister that looks up to you, right? You could show them, you could be that light at the end of the tunnel to break that freaking cycle, to know that you're going to make that stand, to show people that they cannot do that to you. They cannot disrespect you. They cannot treat you like shit. They cannot call you names. They cannot treat you that way and think that it's okay. And then it all comes back down to healing, right? Healing with your past traumas. Like, if you had any past childhood experiences where, again, you were sexually abused or something happened to you, my biggest thing that I've learned, you guys, is forgiving, just forgiving them, because I'm pretty sure that they went through different childhood experiences that they thought that was normal. Now they growed up, and then they think it's normal to do it to other people, or they may not even be cautious or aware of it, and they normalize it, right? Or they just put it at the back of their subconscious mind and not want to face it because it brings them so much hurt and so much pain, right? So at the end of the day, all you can do is work on you. All you can do is acknowledge what are some trauma traits that you've been through that you haven't healed from, that you need to heal from in order for you to live a happy life, in order for you to learn how to love yourself. Because I think if you don't heal from past trauma, you're never going to be able to truly love yourself, and you're never going to be able to truly love somebody else unconditionally. You may play along this role that you're happy and you love that person and everything is good, but really deep down inside, you have some pain inside of you. And it's just like that pain will always haunt you. You'll always find other coping mechanisms to hide that pain. And then that pain now again gets falled onto like when you have a kid or if you have a kid, right? And that's the worst thing, you guys. It's just if you're 27, 28, 29, 30, 40, 50, 60, like whatever age you're listening to this video, you can, and if you're alive and you're healthy, you can take the stand. You can take the stand to say, you know what? It's time for me to heal. It's time for me to really dig deep into these past traumas that I've been through as a kid and say, you know what? It made me the strong person that I am today. Because if you're watching this video, you're still standing. You're still here with us, right? You're still making a life for yourself, you know, whether you have a family already or whether you have a job, a career, a house, or whatever it is, you still got up today. You're still waking up. You're still doing something with your life, right? So you have the ability, you have the strength inside of you to heal from that. Because I honestly feel like that whatever past trauma you have passes on to your kids, right? If you don't do the work to heal from it, it will pass on to them in some sort of way, right? And that's exactly what I experienced and what happened to me. And I just said, I've experienced that. I've experienced all my dad and my mom's past childhood trauma literally fall onto me, and then me going into that same cycle of creating this life that I thought that was normal, and it wasn't. I went through abuse almost all my childhood to almost half of my adult life, right? Mentally, physically, sexually. And I am now 31, 32 years old, and I'm saying to myself, no, it ends here. The abuse ends here with me taking a step back and healing from the past and now understanding who the hell Tracy is and loving Tracy unconditionally, to set those healthy boundaries, right? To never allow somebody to disrespect me again, never allow somebody to put their hand on me again, never allow somebody to sexually abuse me, never allow somebody to feel the need to come into my circle and disrupt my circle. Because now I am forgiving all the people that have done that. I am forgiving and letting go whatever it has done, that has been done to me, as now that's no longer me. I'm no longer that person. I am now in a different place in life where I have control. Those people don't have control over me no more. Those moments don't have control over me anymore. I have control, right? I have control to take forward on my life and move forward with my life how I want it to go, and not give a shit about the outside world and what they have to say, but care about what does Tracy want? What do I want? And you do too. You have the same ability to turn around and look inside of you and heal from those situations, right? Because I honestly feel whatever you've been through in life, it's going to make you stronger, right? I know, maybe you're listening to this right now and you're feeling the emotions, and you may not feel that way now, but I promise you, I'm sitting here sharing my story with you to let you know that you will get by, you will get through it, and you can overcome any fear, any anxiety, any stress, anything from the past. You can heal from it and you can move forward, right? By acknowledging that that's no longer your truth. It's no longer who you are anymore, and that you have the ability to rewrite a new chapter every day you wake up in the morning, right? You have that ability now. You hold that pen in your hand to create your new life. That was your past life that happened. It's no longer your truth anymore. Forgive and let go. And I honestly feel if you don't cope and learn how to forgive, you will never be able to move forward. Never be able to move forward. You will always have that hate in your heart that now it's going to it's now whatever is in the inside is going to portray out onto the outside. So you're attracting hatred towards you. You're attracting anger towards you. You're attracting all those negative things that are no longer your truth, but are buried deep down inside of you that you need to release and let go in order to attract better things inside of your life. And I guarantee, like, I've been experiencing it. The more I've been healing myself, the more I've been working on myself, is the more positivity and the more amazing people I've been attracting to my life. That now it's crazy, that's been through certain situations I've been through, that I can help them to heal now because I have been doing the work. I have been doing the taking the time to heal myself. And the things I've been doing to take the time to heal myself is spending time by myself, spending time with myself, understanding that, you know, whatever the feelings I have from the past are no longer my truth, and they have no longer can control me, because I have control of my destiny. I have control of my mind. I have control of my emotions, right? No longer does those incidents or people have control over me. I hold the key to my success in my life. I also setting healthy boundaries with people, knowing now that, you know, this is how I want to be treated. This is how I deserve to be treated. And I'm going to treat myself this way so I can show people how they need to treat me, with love, with respect, with honesty, with loyalty, care for your body, care for your health, right? And these are the little things that I've been working on. Writing a journal. If you're feeling a certain emotion that came up from the past, that's okay. Write it all down and then say that I forgive it and I let it go. When feelings of the past come up, let it, release it and let it go. Acknowledge it and say that's no longer my truth. I release it and I let it go and I forgive that person, right? Because those feelings are going to come up. We're only human, right? But it's acknowledging them and not disregarding them, not putting them at the back of your subconscious mind, because they're always going to be coming up like a broken record. You're going to play that in your mind over and over and over again. And that's what affects our emotions today. So if you want to be a happier person, you need to understand what it is to be happy, right? Find what things that you love to do, what makes you feel good internally, not externally, right? And that's what I started to do. Find out what things make me happy internally, right? And making myself happy without relying on other people and my outside world to make me happy, and putting all the pressure on other people made me to look inwards. That now, no matter what, I can learn how to be happy by myself and not need somebody else to make me feel whole or happy. I start filling that void that's been empty for so long because I started to fill it with myself, right? My self-love, my self-worth, right? Doing things that I love to do, you know, releasing and letting go all the built up anger and sadness and frustration, forgiving. It's giving me a big release off of my chest that's now making me feel free, making me feel one with myself, right? So those are some tips. Then constantly, when you've been through trauma, you need to rewrite your mindset and how you think and how you feel. So I love writing affirmations and saying positivity. I am beautiful. I am smart. I am caring. I am loving. I am loyal. I am unconditionally loved by the universe, by the people around me. I started writing positive affirmations to remind myself that I have all these great qualities inside of myself that I'm lacking, that I thought I was lacking, that I needed somebody else to give me because of my past traumas, right? And as I started to remind myself all those things, each and every day, I started to feel so good about myself because I know I have all those qualities that we search and we want so badly from other people. So writing positive affirmations, you guys, and then also working out, you know, getting that body moving, it does something to your mind. It does something to your body, just feeling healthy, feeling good about feeling good about yourself, that you're taking care of yourself, you're treating yourself with self-love. Then I have like a spa day for myself. You know what, maybe on the weekend times, spend some time with yourself, take a good bubble bath, read a good book, light some candles. You know, I love meditating now because it keeps my mind at ease, keeps me at whole, one with myself. And even though those thoughts come through my head, I watch them drift by like a cloud, right? So I don't allow my thoughts to control me. That's what I feel like meditating has helped me a lot, is not allowing my thoughts to control me, that I control my thoughts. So you guys, this is part one of, talking about trauma and talking about healing, sharing some tips on how to heal, and just keeping it real with you guys about my story, and you guys hearing on how, you can really take the bad situations and the bad traumas in your life and really do something great with it, with moving forward in your life. Whether you be inspiring other people out there, or you take all those trauma experiences and move forward with breaking the ties, that you're never going to allow that happen to anybody inside of your life, because of the fact that you healed from it and you're able to make a difference in your life with those traumas. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video a lot, you guys, and it helped you guys to see, certain perspectives of different life situations, and how you can cope with it and how you can deal with it. And also me sharing my story maybe can inspire you and help you guys in some sort of way, that there's nothing that can break you, that you are unbreakable, and you can achieve, and you can grow, and you can evolve, and you can do anything you want with your life, no matter what you've been through in life, and move forward and do amazing things with your life. So I hope this video helped you guys a lot. Stay tuned for tomorrow. I will not be doing a YouTube live with that trauma video. I will be recording it with somebody else, and I'll be posting it up around, let's say, 12 o'clock tomorrow noon. So look out for that video, you guys. Thank you so much for spending this time with me and watching this video. And please go check out my Instagram page. It's Toronto_Tracy_Gobin. A lot of great motivational content on there as well that can inspire you and help you guys in some sort of way. Thanks so much for watching, you guys. Have an amazing day, and just keep your head up if you're going through anything right now. And just know that whatever you're going through cannot break you. God is good. God is great. And you are powerful, and you can do anything if you put your mind to it, no matter what you've been through. Take care, you guys, and I'll see you guys again tomorrow.